Hey guys, what's up? So today we're going to talk about my new machine. If you got a chance to check out my last video, I told you guys I would be getting a new sewing machine. And here he is, the TechSew 2750. If you are interested in hearing more about this machine, then keep watching. Alright, so let's dive into this machine. I won't talk too long because y'all know I can ramble, okay? But I ended up getting the 2750 by TechSew. Now, let me just be real. It took me a minute to narrow it down. There's so many machines out there. There's so many to choose from, and I really had to narrow down my selections based on the type of leather work that I do, which is what I tell people all the time. You can ask me what machine I use, and the machine that I use might not be the best machine for you to use. So in my case, because I am a handbag designer, I work with huge bags, small bags, layers of leather. I needed something to work with a little bit of everything. Sometimes I'm working on home decor projects, and a lot of times I'm just making bags. So I needed something to get through those layers of leather if need be, but to also get around corners and in the interior and all that. So that is why, as a bag designer, I would highly suggest getting a cylinder arm machine. And as you can see right now, my tabletop is on, but if I was to remove this guy, this is the cylinder arm of this machine, which is vital for getting in the interior of the bag, sewing around certain curves, all that good stuff, right? The one thing that really made me get this machine is because of the tabletop attachment. Now, I do have a regular flatbed industrial machine, but there's times that I don't want to have to switch back and forth. I want to just be able to do everything on one machine, especially when I have multiple projects going on. I don't have time to be switching back and forth, switching threads and all of that. It's too much work for me. So this is really like having a two-in-one type of machine. You get your cylinder arm, but then if you're working on smaller projects like wallets or belts, then you just throw this tabletop on, and that gives you a dual type of sewing machine. The other reason why I went with this machine is because, not saying I have a problem getting my stitch line straight, but why not have extra reassurance when you are stitching, especially when I'm going around certain curves. It gets a little tedious trying to keep things in place. So this thing has a drop down leverage, but it also has this laser guide that you turn on, and it helps you ensure that that stitch that you are stitching is going to be straight, which I'm sorry, but some of y'all have problems with, okay? You might want to get this machine just to make sure, I'm just saying, just to make sure that laser guide is everything. The last and final reason why I decided on this machine is because a handful of my friends who are deep into leather work and professionals at what they do, their brands, their businesses, vouched for this thing. A lot of them don't have the same model. They vouch for the brand itself, which is huge, because if one machine is crappy, all of them are crappy most times. So I really wanted to go with a good machine this time. If you know how I feel about my last machine, there's nothing about it that excites me. I actually could just throw it out the window at this point. So I was like, okay, out of all three of those factors, I was able to narrow down my decision and choose this guy. So let's get into some of the features up close so you can see exactly what this machine is about. If you have any questions about the machine, Ron at TechSew is amazing. He is very accommodating with answering questions. I did run into some issues because the way this thing was shipped, my whole entire table arrived completely tilted. When you are sewing, you don't need anything rocking back and forth. Luckily, I was already adding wheels to the table, and that didn't even help. So I do have a little piece of wood right now kind of making things balanced, but I told Ron is gracefully sending me out another leg so I can swap that out. I probably won't do it. Sorry, Ron. I just probably won't do it because I have too much going on. Like, I don't have time. Once this thing is together, I'm really not trying to touch it again, okay? But I say all that to say, Ron is freaking amazing as far as answering questions and getting back to you. Shout out to Ron for making sure I was taken care of and everything went smoothly. Overall, the machine is great. There's just something else that I need to adjust. But other than that, I'm already excited to start working with it, because compared to my other industrial sews so smoothly. It's nicely quiet. It's not chugging like a dump truck like my last machine. I love it. I'm gonna get into it right now. But yeah, if you are thinking about the TechSew 2750, I highly recommend it. So yeah, let's get into it. So when it comes to sewing, this machine literally sews like butter on bread. It's so smooth. And what I did start to notice in testing out this strip of 5/6 ounce veg tan leather, that the machine is not leaving any teeth marks. When you sew with industrial machines, oftentimes it'll leave some marks along the sides of, or the perimeter that you are sewing, and I didn't see any marks in this, which is great. So then I just flipped on the laser guide, and this is how that looks. If you do need some assistance with stitching a straight line, the guide is perfect. And this is the end result. I switched up the width of the thread, but the other side of the stitch is also just as precise and clean. So now I'm going to try this 6/7, I think it's a 6/7 ounce veg tan. It might even be a 7 ounce, I cannot remember, but it's really thick, very stiff. I'm using the same thread, and I think the thread that I'm using is a 92 bonded nylon thread. So of course I wanted to use something thicker for this piece of leather, but it sews just as smooth as it would the lighter weight leather. Another great feature that I have to add regarding this machine is that if you tap the presser foot a couple times, it'll start to slow down your thread. You can almost go hands-free on this thing because it holds on to the leather so perfectly that you don't need to have this firm grip to keep the leather in place. But if you tap the presser foot a couple times, it'll slow down the stitch or the thread that you're stitching, and then if you tap it again, it'll stop. It's so weird. It has like this timer thing on it that I can't explain. But anyway, now I'm just stitching the same piece of leather double time, just to give you an idea of how easily it's just gliding through these layers. As I mentioned before, this machine almost serves as a dual type of machine, where you get the benefits of using the cylinder arm and the benefits of just adding a table attachment, which is right here. You just add this attachment and you're able to sew smaller objects, smaller projects, what have you, and get the job done just as effectively. Again, I'm going hands-free here because this machine just grips the leather so perfectly. So yeah, this is the result of that. My thread is kind of crazy because I went off-roading, but yeah, you get an idea. All right, you guys, so that concludes my review on the TechSew 2750. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, or just call Ron, because I don't work for TechSew. So call Ron and he will answer all of your questions. I have not gotten a chance to really dive in on this sewing machine yet and sew any projects with it, but I did test it out with a few pieces of leather. And yeah, I really do love it so far. The way it stitches, the way it sews is just completely different from my last machine, and I'm happy about that. I will catch you guys on the next video. Until then, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all know I hate saying that, but I won't know what videos you like unless you do that. It lets me know so that I can produce more content like that. Until then,